Sumsak, a partner in KSS law firm located in Thailand, specializes in matters of property and real estate. He has assisted a good number of developers and industrialists alike to set up successful development projects in Thailand. Jordan, a partner at Albright Law Offices in Beijing, has spent more than a decade in practice, assisting his clients with investment-related legal matters. His practice areas include corporate, mergers and acquisitions, private equity, antitrust, and intellectual property. Christine, a principal partner at Christine & Crew and LP Solicitors and Notaries, located in Hong Kong, has over 30 years of experience gained from government and private sectors in Hong Kong and overseas. She now specializes in IPO, acquisitions and mergers, investment fund, insurance, and trust matters. And our last speaker, Soumya, is a lawyer and qualified company secretary from India and now practicing in the Cresco Legal Dubai office. She specializes in corporate law and related matters. I will now hand over to our first speaker. I will now hand over to our first speaker.
So it's for, yeah.
Hi, and a very good afternoon to everyone and our guest speakers. It is a great honor to be online with you all today. It is indeed a privilege to represent and speak on behalf of our firm, Kamthon Solutions Sumsak, on the subject of foreign investment into real estate in Thailand. And I will spend the next 10 minutes summarizing the topic, which I hope you will find informative and interesting. What is an overview for foreign investment into real estate in Thailand? Generally speaking, foreign individuals and foreign companies are prohibited from acquiring land in Thailand. However, there are various exceptions to this law, as well as methods for foreign investment into real estate. How can foreigners invest into real estate under those exceptions? Now, I will explain this issue by dividing it into 3 topics. Number 1, foreign ownership of land in Thailand. Number 2, foreign ownership of buildings and foreign leasehold in Thailand. And number 3, foreign condominium ownership in Thailand. Foreign ownership of land in Thailand. Since its legislation in 1994, the Thailand Code did not allow foreign ownership. It was not until 1999 when the code was amended to allow foreign entities to invest at least 40 million baht continuously for 3 years in beneficial business investments or Board of Investment, WI, promoted business in the kingdom to acquire up to 1 right land or equivalent to 1,600 square meters for residential purposes subject to the approval of the Ministry of Interior. The 40 million baht investment is confined to industrial business operation only and not for property business. As a result of this amendment, the following 4 foreign juristic entities can acquire land for business purposes. Number 1, limited companies and public limited companies with the registered shares held by foreigners exceeding 49% of the total registered capital, or those in which foreign shareholders account for more than half of the total number of shareholders for the purpose of the land code. The company are regarded as foreign companies, even though incorporated in Thailand under Thai law. Number 2, registered limited partnerships and registered ordinary partnerships in which foreigners invest their capital at greater than 49% of the total capital, or those in which foreign partners account for more than half of the total number of partners. Number 3, association, including cooperatives in which foreign members exceed half of the total number of members, or those which operate for the benefit of foreigners. Number 4, foundation with objectives focusing mainly for the benefit of foreigners. The above foreign entities may own land on the condition that they receive approval from the Board of Investment, or purchase land in an area approved by the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand, or IEAT. Such land may only be used for business purposes and not for residential purposes. In addition to the above amendment of the provisions of the Land Code in 1999, on the 8th of February 2014, Thailand passed the Eastern Economic Corridor (EEC) Act that allows foreign individuals and foreign entities to own land for business purposes outright, which within special economic promotion zone located in the Eastern Economic Corridor, which is defined as the 3 contiguous eastern provinces of Chonburi, Rayong, and Chachoengsao, the southeast of Bangkok. Under Thai law, the transfer fee will be shared equally by the seller and the buyer, while the tax and stamp duty will be borne by the seller as the income earner. It is worth noting that Thailand does not recognize trusts set up by individuals. Now, foreign ownership of building and foreign leasehold in Thailand. Foreigner may own outright any building constructed on the leased land. Despite restriction on foreign ownership of land in Thailand, foreign entities may enter into lease agreements in compliance with the Civil and Commercial Code. Leasehold property is usually up to 30 years, where the lessee leases the property from the landowner for the said period of time. Lease for up to 3 years may be entered into a simple contract without being registered at the land office. Leases for more than 3 years are valid only 3 years, unless the lease is made in writing and registered with the land office. Leases for 3 years with an option to renew another term of 3 years may be treated as a lease for more than 3 years, and the renewal option may not be valid unless the lease with the renewal option is registered. Leases may be registered up to 30 years, and it may provide for a renewal clause, allowing the lease to be renewed for an additional period of up to 30 years. However, the renewal provision is not automatic. The contracting parties must appear at the land office for the registration renewal. Foreign condominium ownership as an alternative to owning and enjoying leaseholds. A foreign individual or foreign entities can own a freehold condominium outright when the total foreign ownership in such condominium project is not more than 49% of the total area of that condominium building. Last but not least, for any foreign investment into real estate in Thailand, you or your clients should firstly study whether they are qualified to own property in Thailand under the above legislation and conduct a due diligence on the title or issues that may circumvent the acquisition. We can assist the clients in these matters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Samsak, for your presentation. Okay. My presentation today to share with all of you is foreign investment into real estate in China. Actually, China is a pretty special country in terms of real estate investment. You may know because in China, the land actually belongs to the country, not belong to individuals. So, but the individuals can buy houses or apartments, condominiums. I mean, individuals means, you know, a natural person or even a company, you know, like, you know, corporations, partnership, it doesn't matter, but you cannot own the land individually. You can only enjoy the land use rights, not to the ownership of the land. So I think it's the first thing I want you guys to know regarding China's, you know, land law. So it's the first thing. The second is when any company, the real estate development company, to build up apartment or any other projects on the land, as individual, you can own the ownership of the apartment or condominiums or any projects on the land. But separately, you can only enjoy the use right of the land, not the ownership of the land. So it's two special parts about the Chinese law regarding the real estate. Okay, let's get back to the presentation. Today, I'm going to talk about the ownership of the real estate, also the transaction structure, and as well as the taxes and the legal risks. I focus more on foreign investment into the real estate part in China, but also will provide some simple ideas about buying or leasing, in China. So let's get to the first part, ownership. So regarding ownership, actually, you will see a very special term, which is called negative list. Actually, negative list is only for foreign investors. When a foreign investor wanted to invest in China, probably you need to review the negative list firstly to know which part you can invest, which you cannot. So in China, actually, historically speaking, when you invest into the real estate part in China, there's very heavy regulation, in China about foreign investment. Previously, when you invest in China, you need to report and get approval from the Ministry of Commerce in China. So it's a very high standard for everyone, but it has been history already. So now, according to the newest negative list, that actually there's no need to report or get any approval from the Ministry of Commerce in China. Actually, you can just invest as a domestic company. So it's a big change over the last several years. Okay. Yeah, when you see the negative list, actually, I listed the changes from back to 2002 to till now. Like the newest one is 2021. Can you go back to the next page, please, Shannon? Oh, sorry. The next one. Yes. Yes. So when you see this slide, you can say previously for high-ranking hotels, villas, like high-class office buildings and international exhibition centers, golf course, this kind of lands, you cannot really invest directly by foreign investors. Usually, you have a lot of changes, a lot of restrictions on that. Then you can see 2007 and 2015, there's less restrictions. And finally, you only have restrictions on cinemas, but now there's no restrictions and prohibitions. So that's the changes over the last almost 20 years in China. So we go to the next page to see, the transaction structures. Actually, as a foreign investor, you can have several ways to invest into China. The one way is to set up a foreign invested company in China. So you use your parent company in any countries, like including maybe Thailand, maybe US, maybe Dubai. You can just invest directly to China. But of course, you can also consider to use Singapore or maybe Hong Kong as a holding company, as an intermediate, holding company to invest. Because if you take advantage of Hong Kong holding company, you can enjoy a special, policies. Because as you may know, mainland China and Hong Kong have preferential policies with each other, which we call CEPA, CEPA, which is a document changed every several years, but actually, simply speaking, as a Hong Kong company, actually enjoy a lot of preferential taxes and other policies. So that's the main way as a foreign investor to invest into China, to use a WFOE. WFOE means a wholly foreign-owned enterprises in China. But sometimes you will have partnership with Chinese local companies. So you will not be a WFOE. You can be like a GV, a joint venture in China. So it depends on if you have a partnership in China. We go to the next page, please. Yeah. Okay, the second way is what we call VIE. It's a variable interest entities. Actually, depending on the negative list in China now, there's no limitations or prohibitions upon the real estate investment. But why you still consider VIE? Because VIE is actually is not a direct way to invest. Actually, you use other companies to invest, but you sign agreement with these kind of companies, and then you can enjoy the profits and also control, to have the ultimate control of these kind of companies. So why we do that? Even real estate industry, we have some other kind of industry will have overlapped with each other. One specific example is what we call IDC. IDC is Internet Data Center, which is a kind of like website, internet investment, but also need investment into the real estate part, because you need houses, you need apartments to have a lot of properties inside. So it's also kind of a real estate investment. But as foreign investors, actually, you cannot invest into the IDC industry. That's why when you invest into the IDC industry as well as the real estate industry in China, you need take advantage of the VIE style to invest, not the direct way of investment, like what we introduced, for the first option. Then we go to the third one. Yeah, the third one actually is what we call QFI, or it's not QFI, it's QFLP. It's Qualified Foreign Limited Partner. So it actually is kind of a partnership. So not only the company, what we call the limited liability company, we can use. We can also use the Qualified Foreign Limited Partnership. We can set up. Yeah. Yeah, we go to the next one. So then let's introduce the taxes. The taxes actually is pretty simple. It's not only focused on the real estate industry, but also it applies to a lot of industries. But I want to introduce mainly about the VAT, the value added tax, and the corporate income tax. So in terms of interest, like consulting fees, actually we have a 6% of the VAT, but we have a 25% of income tax. For any dividends enjoyed by the shareholders of the company, you also have like 25% of income tax for partnership, but you will have 0% income tax for companies. I mean, limited liability companies. For any equity transfer, I mean the share transfer, when you sell the shares to other companies, to any individuals, so you will be charged a 25% of the income tax. So it's a basic part of the taxes in China for the real estate part. We go to the next one, to the legal risk. Yeah, actually, I illustrated here three common issues when you consider legal risks. The first one is anti-monopoly. Actually, it only applies to the big merger acquisition cases. But now, because the standards actually is published only like more than 10 years ago, this standard actually is very, very low standard, because now, the value of the money that depreciated already. So like what we call like 400 million RMB actually is not very high to apply to the standards for application of anti-monopolies. The second part you need to consider is the IDC, what I just introduced. When you invest into the real estate industry, but also involving the internet data center, you need to consider the limitations upon the foreign investments. The third part, as the last part also, which is also very important, because China is a country with restrictions on foreign exchange. Yeah, as also, when you invest into the US dollars into China, as an example, you cannot actually switch the US dollar directly to the RMB in China, even the money already in the bank account already. You need to do the normal business before you can change the money, change the foreign exchange to the RMB. So I think foreign exchange part is a big part for every investor who want to invest in China to consider. One more thing I want to mention is the withholding tax. As a foreign company, when you are a shareholder of a Chinese local company and you want to take back the dividends or any profits from China, you need to pay 10% of withholding tax, as a general rule. But also, as I mentioned, if you have a Hong Kong shareholder for Chinese companies, you enjoy 5% of withholding tax, which is half of the common standards. So when you invest into China, you just consider to use the Hong Kong company. Seriously consider that. So that's all I want to share with all you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for your presentation. That was quite informative. Before we move on to Christine, I think we have to wait for a couple of minutes. Sorry, at our end, we're having a small technical glitch. So I think a couple of minutes and we could go ahead with the remaining presentations.
Okay, that's fine. So we have a break, is it?
Yeah, a quick start, 2 minutes break, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we might as well take the chance of having a break, have some chit chat among us. Now, if you guys got any questions on the previous two distinguished speakers, by all means, raise them now, not to waste your precious time. Any question? No, it seems that nobody has any question. Yeah, may I have a question? If nobody is having a question while I'm waiting for my PowerPoint to come up. Oh, no, not yet. May I? Yeah, okay, it comes up. Oh, well, dear all, thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the patience. And I'm going to talk about the foreign investment into real estates in Hong Kong. I hope with the mask you still can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you, yeah.
Oh, good. But this does not appear to be my PowerPoint.
You can. Thank you.
Yeah, my PowerPoint hasn't come up yet, but that's all right. May I have a question to you, Jordan? while I'm waiting for my PowerPoint.
No problem. No problem. Christine, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Jordan,
Yep.
regarding the real estate, the property price in Shanghai and Beijing, I was told that they are rocketing. Are they still rocketing now?
No, not anymore. And probably it's a good chance to buy in China.
I see.
I hope there's no big fall of that, of the price.
Right.
Now there's no big rise of the price for real estate projects in China.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it seems that so far that the presentation that you have made is on those commercial investments, those big deals. I'm going to
Yes.
talk about the really daily sort of investment. Oh, thanks for the PowerPoint coming up. Yeah, if we can move to the first one. Oh, no. Oh, yes, this is mine. Oh, you put some, you put some cartoon on it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah. In Hong Kong, number one, there's no prohibition on foreigners in buying, selling, owning a property, a land property. We call it real estate. Whether it is the industrial building, commercial building, the residential building, you can buy up the IFC. I'm not sure if you can see the IFC from here, but anyway, you can buy all those things in Hong Kong. So it's pretty much opposite to what I heard from Samsung in Thailand. In Thailand, it seems that you cannot buy much unless you have all these restrictions. In Hong Kong, no foreign investment restriction. The only thing, of course, is the tax. Now, the tax for the property, we call it stamp duty. If we can move on to the next page. Yeah, for the stamp duty is, I put down here as up to 30% for foreigner and for limited company. But if it is an individual, local citizen, you only pay at most up to 4.25%. So you can see it is a sort of a penalty to those foreigners and to the limited company. Why limited company? Even if you form a limited company in Hong Kong, it is not a foreign company, right? Still, you are charged with up to 30% of the stamp duty. The reason being, anybody can form a limited company in Hong Kong. So they don't want you to, the government doesn't want you to go around the loophole, form a limited company, while say Jordan wants to buy property in Hong Kong and forms a limited liability company in Hong Kong and use it to buy up half of the Hong Kong land, for example. So what happened is 30%. Now, having said that, still, there are so many rich guys coming to Hong Kong, form a limited liability company, and do it, and pay the 30%. And we were amazed, of course, but anyway, that's the life. For lease, of course, it is a separate matter. And in that regard, I must refer to Somsak's presentation. He was talking about the leasehold and the freehold, the difference between leasehold and freehold. This is a concept, of course, like PRC, like China. All the pieces of land belong to government. In Hong Kong, same. All the land belongs to the Hong Kong government, except one piece of land that was that we call the St. John's Cathedral. It is a church. The St. John's Cathedral is the only piece of land that is owned freehold. The rest are either held for 90 years, 99 years, 999 years. Anyway, they are leasehold. When the lease expires, well, some some of the land, the lease expired in 1997. You know, in 1997, the treaty between China and England and Britain expire. So the land, whole of Hong Kong revert back to China, and some of the land, the lease expire. When the lease expired, the government just renew it. For those land expiring in 1997, government renew it at no cost. So it is sort of an automatic renewal. But the lease, the land being leasehold, the title belongs to the government, is just an exertion of the, of the government property. And so Hong Kong people doesn't really care much about that. Now, the next question is whether the trust is recognized in the land. Yes, trust is recognized, but it is a matter of proof whether the property is held on trust or just on the same name. A lot of the trust fund, the foundation, the trust fund, the family trust, the charitable trust, they can all own land. So the trust is not a problem. The other thing is buying property in Hong Kong, we don't have the problem mentioned by Jordan. Jordan was saying that in China, you have to change like US dollar into renminbi first before you pay off the vendor, right? In Hong Kong, well, the exchange rate, the exchange is so easy, so quick. You do it online, whatever. So that's why anybody can come in and buy up a piece of land if you are prepared to pay up to 30% stamp duty. That's it. And okay, now when you make the money, you want to take the money away, right? There is no tax, no VAT, no capital gain tax, no withholding tax, nothing. Except, of course, you have to pay the legal fee. Otherwise, I won't let you go. But that's all. So if you buy and you gain, I know in some country, for example, in Australia, they have the capital gain tax. If you buy a property, be it a condominium, a whole building, you have to pay capital gain of certain percentage. Hong Kong, there's simply no capital gain tax, that kind of heading for you to pay. Okay, let's have the next page. Also, you can own the property by indirect ownership. As I said, if you own it by a limited company, by a trust, by a foundation, yes, you can all do so, just that you have to be prepared to pay for the stamp duty, which can be up to 30%, right? But the beauty of owning a piece of land with a limited liability company or a joint venture, whatever you want, is that when you transfer the land or you sell half of your share to somebody else, then the stamp duty is not 30% anymore. If it is a Hong Kong company, let us go to the next page. I will show you. Right. If it is the Hong Kong company, the stamp duty for transferring the share, because you are only transferring the share. You are not transferring the land. So the share, the stamp duty for the share is only 0.13%. $1,000, meaning you pay $13 only. So it is a much lower, it's much lower tax when you than transferring the real estate itself. That is for the share transfer. Now you can, for the company, you can use Hong Kong company, BVI, Cayman, whatever you want. Jordan was mentioning the structure, right? If you use BVI and use Cayman, you can actually save that 0.13% as well, because when you transfer BVI company, there's no stamp duty simply, or Cayman company, no stamp duty. Now, apart from actually buying up a property, be it commercial, whatever, or a big piece of land, like the mainland tycoon, there have been so many mainland tycoons coming to Hong Kong to buy up the prime sites in Hong Kong. They don't mind paying 30%, so they just add it up to the redevelopment cost, that's it. But for ordinary people, for example, when you do the investment, you may do investment in other financial products. Let's move on, next page. The financial product will include investment in the property financial products will include real estate investment trusts. They are all listed. They are listed in the stock exchange. They can be listed in the stock exchange. Let me put it this way. For the private equity fund, they are not listed. You just set up private equity fund. It can be in the form of mutual fund, unit trust, and so on. And as of course, some other SPVs, special purpose vehicle. You set it up, you own it together with other people. You pay 30% of stamp duty. And then when you sell the units or sell the shares out to them, there is one more beauty. The beauty is the next page. If you build up a fund, the stamp duty, 30%, you can build it up, you can build into the price of the fund, right? So the price of the unit of the fund is about 30% more, but when you start to buying and selling the units, there's absolutely no stamp duty, duty-free, that is. So there has been a lot of this kind of buying and selling of the real estate funds. Mostly the real estate fund, we called it the REIT, R-E-I-T, Real Estate Investment Trust. Jordan may know the property in Wangfujing. Wangfujing is there's a big piece of land right above the MTR, a big compound, a big development of a commercial and hotel building. They were bought up by this real estate fund, and this real estate fund has been trading very vigorously, and some people makes a lot of money out of it. Of course, some people lost money like me. I bought it at the top, and now it drops, and I cannot get out. But that's life, so there's nothing that anybody can complain about. With all this, I end my presentation and hope you have a good time. Thank you.
So I think,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christine, for your presentation. That was really informative, and I'm sure all of us enjoyed. So the last topic, I mean, I'm going to take up the UAE jurisdiction for today. So a little bit of background, I'm sure all of us are aware of it, but just to start this off, a little bit of background. So I think over the past few years, all of us have noticed, and we've seen the real estate sector, especially in the UAE, grow really pretty well, and and this is despite the pandemic. So considering the past 2 years effects and all of it, in spite of that, the prices are still high, and in fact the rents in real estate is touched really great height. And all of us, I think to a major extent, all of us agree that Dubai is the destination. When we talk about UAE as such, we're mostly referring to Dubai, but anyway, so UAE, as all of us are aware, comprises of these 7 emirates, and the law which governs basically the real estate here is generally every emirate has its own law, but again, overall, they have a federal law and also the UAE civil code. So every emirate is has its own law when it comes to real estate and how they decide to go about it. So when we talk about the kinds of ownership generally, and I think like one of the speakers earlier has already mentioned, the different kinds, these are the 4 different kinds. One being the freehold ownership, where you have an absolute right, the investor has the absolute right over the property. The usufructuary is basically similar to leasehold, where in leasehold, the right is more of a personal right, whereas here it's more of a, it's basically granted for a period of 99 years. And in leasehold, again, leasehold properties, you have, it's granted for a short-term period. Again, but these again are granted on properties which are in the designated areas. And the last one is the granted land. And by granted land, it basically means the ruler here gives the land for no cost as such. And however, there are restrictions on how you can use the land. So this, you can't, an investor person to whom this is granted can't dispose it off easily. And even if they want to convert this as a private land, they have to pay 30% of the existing price at that time, at the point when they decided to convert it. So these in general are basically the kinds of ownership that one person can have. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So when here for foreigners, there are the most number of restrictions in UAE. So the nationals and the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council nationals they have very certain restrictions, but however, foreigners have the most amount of restrictions. And these restrictions are again based on 2 factors. The number one being the nationality, and second, the location. And location, we realize, becomes as I go ahead, you'll realize becomes the most important factor, because there are certain areas called the designated areas where alone like a foreign investor can invest. So can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so when we're talking about, this is the current situation, the current DLD policy. So the Dubai Land Development Authority is the one responsible, and these are the restrictions. So because we'll be talking about few of the Emirates, I'm sure it's going to be a little, I hope it's not going to be too long, but I'll cover the points soon. So one again, so the foreign offshore companies, they're not permitted to directly own real estate in designated areas. And however, foreign onshore companies can do so if they establish a company in the free zone, the JAVZA approved free zone companies. And again, non-UAE GCC nationals can purchase real estate in their individual capacity in these designated areas. So can we move on to the next slide, please? So I've been talking a lot about the designated areas, and this is just a basic list. This is not a comprehensive list, as it keeps changing from time to time. But for those who are aware, who are well aware with the areas here, these are the areas just for your reference: the Palm Jumeirah, the Burj Khalifa, the Dubai Marina, and all of it. So this is again a very short list of the places here where a foreign investor can invest. However, before investing, I mean, this list keeps on changing, so it keeps amending. So we have to check again with the DLD authority. And yeah, so the next slide, please. Okay, so like I said, since foreign companies cannot directly purchase, they can do so through these 3 ways. So one is the offshore company, one is the JAVZA offshore, the second is something called the Abu Dhabi Global Markets Company, and the third is DIFC, Dubai International Financial Center entity. So something about ADGM and the IFC is basically, okay, I'll take you guys to the next slide, and I think we can discuss this together. The next slide, please. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so here in ADGM and so basically ADGM and the IFCs, ADGM has again a special purpose vehicle which is set up. It's more like a holding company where you set up an SPV for a specific purpose, and they decide to, hold the assets and the shareholding the company, basically the assets and the shareholding the company. And in case of REITs and DIFC foundations, okay, so REITs, firstly, it's pretty new here, unlike in countries like, say, Singapore or India, where it's taken a rise over the past few years. It's not also very preferred here because, one, there is no tax advantage. So REITs, it's since generally, otherwise, if someone decides to invest in UAE, they do have tax advantage. Through REITs, that's not the case. So it's pretty relatively new, and it's not very common here. But the fact is that one advantage is that you can invest in a lot of diverse properties. And again, this has to be among the designated areas. And The other one could be also DIFC Foundation. So basically, you set up foundations, and the difference is that in through SPVs and foundations, the ownership here is separate. So there is a lot of advantage. In case of DIFC Foundations, there's definitely like the person can retain control over the assets, though it's transferred to the foundation, the investor still has the right over it, so it helps in succession planning. So these are the structures generally here for basically when I'm talking about Dubai. Can we go back to the previous slide, please? Because I want to talk about the other Emirates in brief. So Sharjah, Ajman, Fujairah, and all of these places, something very interesting to note is that in Abu Dhabi and other places, a person investor can have an interest over the land, over the property, except the land. So what I'm trying to say is they can own a floor, but not the land itself. So in case of Sharjah, however, you still need a residency visa and those requirements are there. But in case of Ajman and Fujairah and all of it, you can take up a lease, but that's again for a period of 99 years. And this lease can be extended one time or twice, but however, the entire period can't exceed 198 years. So generally, it's only a lease structure which is followed here. And like I said, you can't own the land. So it's just the floors in the building. So say one floor of it. So that's the difference here in case of Abu Dhabi and the others. And Ras Al Khaimah, I think it's catering to the hospitality industry a lot right now. So it's been actually growing very well, and its main focus is the hospitality sector. So these are the basic provisions and basic facts and points regarding the real estate investment if someone decides to as well invest in the UAE. When talking about the tax structure, I don't think the tax point is mentioned in my slides, but anyways, talking about the tax structure, in case of Dubai, there's a transfer fee of 4% on the value of the land. And in case of Abu Dhabi and all of it, it ranges from 1 to 4. So I think generally all of us agree that UAE has, and all of us know for a fact that UAE has been, people come and invest here also for the tax reasons. Like I said, the only exception being IITs. But I think despite the pandemic and all of it, it has seen a rise, and I'm sure like it's going to be the situation going ahead as well. So that is just a very brief introduction and primer sort of on the investment if someone decides to invest in. I think with that, yeah, we conclude my presentation. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So now the floor is open for questions. Please put all your questions on the chat box. Right. Okay, so if anyone would like to ask a question, the floor is yours. If you don't want to write it, you could actually ask the speakers right away.
Or let me ask Kem Tong.
Oh,
May
there
I?
you go. Yep,
Hi,
yep.
Kem Tong.
Yes, hi.
It's time to buy up Hong Kong now. Come on. It's time to buy up Hong Kong. The property price is dropping because of the war, of course, and because of the COVID. But it's just a good time, isn't it? I mean, I tell you what, the richest guy in PRC, Ma Yun, he's got a house here in Hong Kong. Now, tell you what, the house, he bought it for 20 billion, meaning 20 billion, meaning 200 million. No, sorry, meaning 2 billion Hong Kong dollar. 2 billion Hong Kong dollar is roughly about 1 billion US dollar. And you know now how much it worth? It worth about 5 billion US dollar. So you see, the rich guy is much richer by 3 billion by just buying a property in Hong Kong. Kem Tong, come and beat him. Get out of the market.
Let's try. Let's try. Well, you mentioned that your investment into one project near Shenzhen, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, there's this rich guy, right? We could earn 5 million, yeah, and we could lose, right? Yeah.
What? Somebody lose 5 million? What?
No, you you lost your investment and you got stuck in it. Right?
Oh. Oh, let me. You remind me. If I may have 1 or 2 minutes, I share a case with you, an actual case.
Yes.
A Singaporean by the name of Yao, when came to Hong Kong many years ago, become a joint venture partner of Hangzhou. Jordan will know where Hangzhou is, right? Hangzhou, somewhere near Shanghai. He became a joint venture partner. That joint venture invited him because he is a foreigner. He is a Singaporean passport holder.
Right.
And because inviting him, then the joint venture can enjoy, as Jordan said, tax concessions from the government. So they have a lot of tax concessions.
Yeah.
And after 20 years, that company was holding a piece of land for water, for reservoir. And they had the reservoir, and so they hold the land right next to the reservoir. And with the land increase in price over the 20 years, the joint venture now becomes billionaires. Everybody of them become billionaires. And we have this lucky client. He owns 1/4, 25% of the company.
Right.
However, the property was sold without paying a dime to him. So we are now having a litigation case.
Right.
And the litigation case is to be done in Singapore. So some Chinese lawyer is helping him doing the Singapore. But I am involved because he formed a company in Hong Kong. The Singaporean formed a company in Hong Kong to invest in China.
Yeah.
So the Hong Kong company is involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we will have a happy ending, right?
Yeah.
We are about to have a happy ending, but then the Singaporean gentleman is 80 years old, 82 now.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? He passed away.
Oh.
And so the story is, if you have money, you want to invest it quick and get out of it quick.
let's set up a read among ourselves and listen to what you have to suggest, you know.
That's my
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. A happy and then a sad story. Oh, but no, that is not that sad. His daughter, he has one daughter. His daughter will be a rich lady now. So we are the case will be prolonged a little, but there will be happy ending, I'm sure.
Yeah, that means that you would be a happy lawyer for the client, despite he's passing away too, because you've done a good job for them, and also holding the daughter's hand, until they are happy.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know yet. Let's wait and see.
As lawyers, we are busy enough, like advising the clients, coping with their problems, right? And I think sometimes, even though how much interest we wanted to take part into this this wealth, and whether we do have time to spare, monitoring, and keep an eyes on, what we are going to invest, legal businesses already keep us I think not all, but most of us, very busy enough, like keeping the clients happy, right? Sorting out their problems. Didn't have time to look at, the index, where it goes, goes up, where it comes down. Yeah.
That's true. That's
and
true.
when you get stuck into the investment, you see, I don't think that that is a loss for me. I think on the other hand, I look at it as the dedication that we have given to the clients, because we work in files together, right? And you have put full efforts and full time, after office hours, Saturday, Sunday, trying to look into the solutions for them. Yeah. And I think that is something that, you can't find, right? I mean, if you have money, you can buy something, right? But, all this help that you have extended to the clients or people who are in need of help, it is something that it's made you as who you are and being contented, despite sometimes, with less money. Yeah. I mean, that's because, well, otherwise you couldn't have been able to share with us, you lost in the investment, and then you shared, a number of stories happily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is something that we also, here we had a lot of businesses. Sometimes, you earn some fees, sometimes, but not all the time. You help them, right? And at the end of the day, we're happy people because
You have a lot of stories to share.
Yeah, right.
At the end of the day, you have a lot of stories to share with your kids and your grandchildren, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think we all here, right? If I could have Joseph, is there any more questions?
Yeah, that's about to ask still. Are there any more questions from the audience?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. Going once, going twice. I think that's it for now. Yeah. I'll give it back to Shannon.
Thank you. I think you've all been excellent. Thank you to all our speakers for your amazing presentation.
I think Mr. Cantor is about to say something. Yeah. You were saying?
Yeah. It is going to be streaming on the website, right? This session, because perhaps with the short notice, there may not be many participants, but I think with the streaming, people can get through it anytime. And I saw that Asiajuris has kept all the webinar streaming, and that people could go and have a look on our activities, this knowledge sharing. It doesn't mean that we're less people from the previous webinars, because we have very short time to prepare, yet we made it. And I thank you very much for all the speakers. And the coordinator, with all the facilities from Cresco office, and thankful and grateful for your for your hard work for this, organizing this with a short period of time, and I would like to say that because of the streaming, thanks to the streaming, that we have these records of our activities that can be, can be viewed at any time, and we can direct the people who are interested in our activities go to it anytime. And one of the reasons I'm saying this because I am going to meet with a couple of potential members who expressed their interest in joining Asiajuris, and I can always show to them, present to them what is in the website. Great job, well done. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And on top of that, after the closing, can I have a short meeting with Jordan, Christian, and Michael, please?
Sure, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And thanks for organizing it, Kam Tong and Naveen. Naveen, I know that we are sending all our WhatsApps to you, our PowerPoints to you, and your organizing team. And of course, Joseph, thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. And that's what we are for. Am I right? So thanks everybody.
How do you say it in India? It's my pleasure.
Yeah, in India, the problem is that it's not two languages like Cantonese or Mandarin. We have 1,600 languages. So it's all depends upon where you are saying.
I give up.
So that's a problem. So because see, you have to understand, at least you have two languages in China or Chinese speaking parts, Mandarin and Cantonese, but you have only one script. For us, we have around 20 to 30 scripts. For each language has their own script and language. So completely different.
Sure.
So, but you can divide them into two parts. South India speaks almost came from one language, so they look similar, but they're completely different from each other. So we have around 5 languages in South India, which I speak all those 5 languages. Apart from one language, Hindi, which is a kind of a national language. I speak 6 languages in India, but I don't speak remaining 1,600 languages, whatever it is there.
We'll give it a try. We are waiting for the invoices from Asiajuris, so we are eager to pay.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, please expedite your billing, man.
Yeah, we'll send you across. Yeah.
Please let me know, the account details, and that, we will send the membership fees there immediately. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. We look forward to seeing you in our next webinar, which will be on the 6th of May, where we'll be discussing crypto regulations for companies. Thank you, everyone.